This is what happens when two important details collide. No hair and no hat. And it is hot. I'm not in it to win a beauty contest anyway. It works. Got another little pistol ball here. This is number 4 for today. I'm not showing you all of them. Most of the others are mangled a little bit, but that one's in good shape. Lots of bullets. Alright, well, I got another non-ferrous signal. Kind of faint, but boy, when I opened the hole up, it sounded good. Now that I would straight up call camp lead. I mean, that's what I think camp lead would look like, and it's just a big old chunk of it. And definitely been in a fire. So that's pretty cool. I got high hopes. Maybe I'll find another Civil War bullet. Just got to get over the right spot. I guess I also needed to point out that I'm seeing some charcoal in the hole and the side walls there too with that melted lead. For whatever that's worth, I'm seeing a little bit of it. Well, this is either going to be really good or it's going to hurt. But I got down in this bog kind of off the higher place where I thought the camp was, and I got around this with something on the back and lines around the edge. What is that? That doesn't look helpful there. Huh. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but it looks like a knob. Man, I was hoping for a button. I think it's some sort of... Oh, I got some water here. I don't have a clue. Don't have a clue, but I don't think it's as old as the camp stuff. Cool looking though. If I figure it out, you'll know about it. Or if you know about it, let me know about it. Whoa. Man, that was a booming signal. Check this out. Is that a super, super old spoon? That is so heavy, and I don't think I've ever dug anything pewter, but holy smokes. I think that's a big old spoon right there. Let me just jump in here and spare you any more false pontificating on my part. I've already mentioned how heavy this was. Well, that's a pretty good indication that's not a spoon. And I also suggested maybe it was used to melt lead. It looks nothing like a lead ladle. When you're trying to ID something in the field, sometimes things pop out that just don't seem right. Pay close attention to those. This turns out to be nothing more than a brass draw plane handle. Lesson learned. All right, we got something round. That's always exciting. Rang up 62. I mean, it didn't waver. It's paper thin. Oh, it's another flat button. Oh, cool. Yes. I should have known that. That is so thin though. Huh. I mean, the other one was twice that. Very cool. Man, that's awesome. Number 4 ever for me. I don't think those will ever get old. It's just such a great indication of the age of the place that you're digging. Awesome. Look at the size of that coil. Man, oh man, we're getting after it now. So a lot of the lead that I'm digging was really deep, right at the threshold of what my stock coil could do. So my buddy Andy, Mountain Style Digger on YouTube, he decided to let me borrow this big old, what we got here, a Nell Attack, and slap that on my AT Pro, see if we can get a little deeper. Well, I just dug this, and it was about 8 inches deep, but it was all folded up. And I'm not sure what it is. It says number 2 on either side of it, and then right in the middle it says 4 yards, 10 cents. So I don't know. I'm wondering if it had to do with like maybe a wire, a certain gauge of wire, or maybe cloth. Don't know. If you've ever seen something like that, let me know. Pretty cool though. Alright, so I've moved up a little closer to the house, and there's a reason why I've stayed away from it a little bit. There's a dirt change, this red clay. But I just got a nickel signal in it. Right there. We'll see how old it is. The house is 1950s. So, probably a Jefferson. But you'll never know. Oh gosh, it's a Buffalo. Check it out. I ain't dug a Buffalo nickel in a long time. Sweet, well, maybe I need to spend a little more time in this red clay. Check that out. Let's see if we got a date. Yeah, I just hadn't pulled much, you know, from the maybe 40s or 50s. I'm sure there could be some silver laying around, but I like relics more. But I will take an old coin any day. I don't think it's gonna have a date on it. That's pretty cool though. First Buffalo nickel in a while. Alright, next hole. We got a wheat cent. What's that look like, a 50 something? No, I think it's a 39. Very cool. Okay guys, I typically don't do wrap-ups, but there's an exception to this hunt. Actually, 2 or 3 hunts. You guys have been seeing me dig these things, and I've been kind of guessing that possibly I'm on a military camp. Now, I'm really interested in your feedback, especially you guys that have dug military camps before. I kept as much of the stuff that I dug that I felt like might tell a little bit of the story. There's a few little pieces missing here and there. So let's just get started with what I've got that makes me think this was a military camp. All right, lots of camp lead. Of course, this is not all of it. There was lots of little pieces. This is just some of the best representations. And, you know, I'm calling that camp lead. It is possible those are musket balls that have just been destroyed. It's very possible. They're about the right size, but you know, they've also got that melted appearance to them, so I'm calling them camp lead. As far as the musket balls, now there are probably, I'm going to say 8 or 10 pieces that I've got that are just hammered out flat and you know, tore up pretty good. But all of these musket balls, put that there, all of these finds came from a 30-foot circle. Okay, now the first indication that I had that it was a camp was the absolute lack of nails. surrounding that 30-foot circle, and in that 30-foot circle, there was just no sign of a structure. You know, when you detect an old house, the ground just gets chattery. It was so quiet. And in the middle of this circle, all of these mid-tones and high-tone signals. The only nails that I found, with the exception, I think, of maybe 2 nails, were horseshoe nails, and there weren't many of them. I found this complete horseshoe and I think 3 pieces of broken horseshoe inside that 30-foot circle. The musket balls, I don't have calipers or anything, any way to measure, but you know, I'm going to take a guess and say 40 caliber, 36, 31, 28. I'm not even sure if 28 is a caliber that was used, but you know, I would call these pistol balls and that musket balls. The time frame on these, could those be earlier than the Civil War? Yeah, very easily, but they could also be used during Civil War time. They were, you know, shooting musket balls, especially out of the pistols. And then, of course, got the Enfield bullet. That was the one and only mini ball that I found. Okay. Now this piece of wire, it could very well just be a mangled up piece of wire. But you guys that have dug Civil War camps, in particular Confederate camps, there was something about this that reminded me of a J-hook. And especially if you take this part and if you were to bend it over to where it's directly under this, I think it was twisted right here. So could that be like some sort of a knapsack hook made out of wire? That's probably going to be a hard call. It could just be wire, but it was right in the middle of all this other stuff. This chain right here, my buddy Mountain Style Digger, when I went and borrowed a big coil from him, I showed him this chain. It was a big mess. He kind of bounced it in his hand, and all of a sudden it laid flat. And he said that chain was made to lay like that. Well, some of you guys correctly identified that in the video as a curb chain, and that was used after the Civil War, before the Civil War, and during the Civil War. But once again, found right with all this other stuff. Now, a few items I know for a fact predate the Civil War. The 2 flat buttons. This one with a back mark, so 1810 to 1850. This one without a back mark. So, you know, I'm assuming that could be an earlier button. You know, late 1700s, early 1800s, something like that. It's very, very thin also. That does not mean, though, that those buttons still could not have been in use in 1865, especially in the Confederate Army, assuming this was a Confederate camp. And I'll tell you why I think it was in just a minute. A bale seal. Now, the train didn't hit the area until 1888. But could bale seals have been used before the train? You know, and I think they could have been. And that could just be, you know, something dropped much later. Don't know. And then, of course, the 1838 half dime, which is in really, really good shape. That did not spend a lot of time in somebody's pocket before it was dropped. Okay, so is this the remnants of a short-lived Confederate camp? Why do I think it might be? Well, I've studied the history of the area, and the site that I was digging, I called it a proximity hunt. It was very close to a place that the men in the county would have gathered for enlistment into the Confederate Army. Now, the way I see that going down in my mind is a bunch of guys get together, you know, they come in and enlist. I could see them camping overnight for a little while in that spot before all the guys show up and get organized. Maybe wrong on that, but you know, I'm just wondering, was this what that was? Because there, as far as a camp for, you know, a battle or anything, no battles took place. My other thoughts are, has that misled me to think, oh, this is Confederate camp? These musket balls could be much earlier, more in line with these early 1800s buttons and this coin. And another gathering would have taken place at this area, and it would have been for the removal of the Cherokee by the U.S. Army in 1838. So there are two events that I know that the troops would have gathered and spent some time very close in the area that I was detecting. So you guys that have dug camps, you're going to have to let me know. What do you think? Like I said, all in a tight area, no structure anywhere around close by. Was this a camp? A few other little pieces that ended up being, after, what do you call, cross-century contamination, but not too far off. Late 1800s, early 1900s, draw, plain handle, a knob. I don't know if that went to an old radio or something like that. The TVA tag, that's late 1930s, and then a V-nickel, which is either late 1800s or early 1900s. So there you go. I just wanted to share that with you, let you guys kind of ponder it out with me. Very interested to know what you think about it. I had a heck of a time digging all this stuff. It was really exciting. I wish I could have found something that made this story come together a little more tight, but I think I'm on the right trail. What do you think?